her stool over here?
Can you-
Where we need to put her.
This is a videotape interview with Mrs. Mecie Porter of Kingfisher, Oklahoma. It was done for the American Folklore class at Phillips University to help preserve the art of willow basket weaving, which has been a tradition in her family. Our thanks to George Eckerhawk for the camera work today.
No, you just talk. It'll be a nice mess on TV. Got my new dollar.
Yes, I saw that. You didn't have one the other day. You know,
No, I didn't have
it looks
one
so
made.
pretty.
I made that mess.
Whenever.
Well,
You tell us whenever you get ready. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. This is Mrs. Mecie Porter. She's going to show us how she makes willow baskets.
That's what they call me.
Now, when did you start doing this one? When did you start this?
This while ago.
Just a little while ago. How long has it taken you?
Why,
do that?
it'll take me noon tomorrow to make it.
Oh my goodness.
You can't make these in a little while.
How big are you going to make this one?
As big as that.
Like this?
Not as big as that one, I see. Yeah, it'll be about as big as that. Not the same size.
Okay. Could you tell us how you learned how to make baskets?
Oh, I learned how from my mother. She made baskets.
Mm-hmm. Did she always make baskets? Ever since you could remember?
Well, ever since I can remember. I was a little girl when I learned how to make. Got a handful of willows, went around behind the house in Chimney Corner.
Mm-hmm.
See, we lived in a big log house, you know. It was in the hills up in Indiana. And when she got through making a basket one day, she said, Mecie, when you clean up this mess, always a mess, you know, where you drop your willows. I cleaned that up and gathered all me up some, and I went around behind the house and got me a knife and made a basket.
What
Little
kind did you
bitty.
make? A little one like
Yeah, a
this?
little bitty one, yeah, must have been something like that. I don't remember just whether it had a handle on it, it was just like that. And I was so proud of it and went in and showed it to her, you know. She didn't know I was around there doing that. And I come in and grin and to her, you know. I was proud of it. And she said, well, now, Mecie, if you'd stayed in the house and made that, I could help you with it. And been all right.
So then did she show you how to make?
No, from that on, I caught on. Because she made baskets and a lot of them, and I caught on how.
Did she always make them out of willow?
Yeah,
Or did
yeah.
she use any other things?
Nothing else, just out of willows. That's the way she learned to make them.
Did she sell them, or
Huh?
did she sell them, or did she use
Oh, yeah,
them?
she sold them. She made them to sell.
Did she make a lot of different kinds?
Made clothes baskets, big long ones, with handles on each end. She made all kinds. I made a lot of them too, like that.
Did she sell them in a store, or did people come
Well,
by
she
your house?
used to trade them for groceries or anything she could get from. And then she used to, she'd sell them for money too, but then when she get a lot of them, the grocery stores always bought them, you know. And they pay her for them.
And how much of that do you have to do? Can you show me what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm working the bottom, making the bottom round and round down there.
Now, what are these? Just straight pieces of
They're
willow?
the sticks in what you start your basket bottom with.
But are they pieces of willow also?
Yeah, they're willow. That's all willow. You can't work anything that'll break in there. And that's the trouble with willows in this country. They're awful brittle. They're not tough like they are up in the north, you know.
Now, are these, do you get these off of a willow tree or off
Yeah.
of a bush?
Off the willow tree.
Tree.
Yeah, and you can take them off of bushes or anything they grow on, you know. here to Elmer's Lake. We got lots of willows. Reba and I. Another thing you got to do is keep them wet. You got to keep them wet all the time you're working.
What
And you're-
happens if you break one?
Well, you just cut it
Piece.
off and put in to start another
Start
one in.
another one.
You start another one where it breaks at. You can't tell nothing about them until the basket's done.
Well, it's fascinating to watch you do it.
So my hands ain't good on making baskets anymore. I've got arthritis so bad.
Mhm. When did you put these willows to soak? How long have they
Last
been
night,
soaked?
I put
Last
them here
night.
last night.
Would you rather use green ones, fresh ones? Do they work better?
No, they don't work any better. You got to keep them in water if they're fresh.
Even if they're fresh.
Yeah.
Do you use anything special to take the bark off?
Yes, I've got a willow peeler.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that someplace that we could see?
Reba, go get the willow peeler. It's hanging up there at the end of that, by the ice box, you know. I got my mother's. When she passed away, I didn't have one, and when she passed away, I took her willow peeler. None of the other kids didn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then really, none of the others never made baskets. I had one brother that made baskets, and he does yet.
Mm-hmm.
But none of the rest of them never took it up.
Is that the only special thing that you use?
Well, you use your mouth and your fingers.
Your mouth and your fingers.
You can start them and put it in your mouth and pull it down. You know, wrap it around and pull it down. See, you put this in here and press it together, and it takes them right off. Just like that.
Can I see it?
It's just made for the peel willow.
That's interesting.
And I got when my mother passed away, I went and stayed with her just before she died. And when she did, I said, that's all I want, is a willow peel.
Mm-hmm. That's an antique then. That's real old.
Yeah, it's old. My land, isn't it? Old man give her that, made that for her in Indiana when I was just a little bitty kid. And he made that for her. He made baskets too, you know. He had one, so he made more.
Would you mind telling us how old you are?
Well, I know. I'm 91.
91. My goodness. And you can do all these things yourself? Take care of your garden and
Yes, I take care of my garden. I was out there hoeing this morning. It needs hoeing. It's getting dry enough to hoe now. Yeah, me and Reba, we make our own garden and everything.
do you know how your mother learned how to make baskets?
No, I never knew how she learned. I don't know how she learned. There's an old man in our neighborhood that made baskets all the time, but then she made them too, and I don't know. I never did know where she learned them. Or she knew before I was born how to make them.
Did she make them when you moved to Kentucky also?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Did you live on farm all the time when you were a child?
All the time. There wasn't but 11 of us children.
11. My goodness.
There's 11 of us. Of course, they never was all at home when the last ones come. The oldest ones was married and gone.
Are you on the top end of the family or
No, I'm about middle ways of it.
You're in the middle.
I had 3 brothers and 2 sisters older than me. The rest of them was younger.
did you live in Kentucky?
We lived there about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
My father went down there, thought he liked down there, and he didn't like it.
What part of Kentucky did you go to?
Oh, I don't know what you could call it. I've got a girlfriend down there I had when I went to school down there, and I wrote her a letter not long ago, and I didn't know, I knew it until she changed her name, and I didn't know her folks run the post office, and I didn't know where they, out in the country, and I didn't know whether they still run that post office or what, and I wrote her a letter and told her that, I told her my name and all, let's go to school together, and I backed it, and I said to Bertha Sullivan, used to be, I didn't know who to back it to. Her name was Sullivan. And she got that letter and answered it.
Well, how nice.
I was sure glad to hear from her.
Yes. Well, after you went back to Illinois, then, did you go back to the same place?
No, we went back to Indiana.
Oh, you went back to Indiana?
We went back to Indiana when we left there. When Paul left there, he went to Indiana. Thought he was in a different place over where his sister lived, and he thought he liked that better. And he didn't like it, and he wasn't very well. So a man come to Illinois, and he wanted to, an extra man to go along drive an extra wagon, He was going to move to Illinois. So my father went along and drove a team out there for him. And he come back then, and we went. He taking us out. And we got off ever since.
How old were you then when you went? Do you remember how old you were when you went to Illinois?
I was about 12 years old or 13, something like that. I wasn't very old. And my oldest sister was married then, And my oldest brother, two oldest brothers was married at that time.
You were married in Illinois, right?
Yes, I was married.
And then how long did you stay there before you came to Oklahoma?
Oh, that's a long time. After we was married, my husband's father, his grandfather lived out here and come to Oklahoma, new country. And so his father came out here.
Mm-hmm. Did he come in one of the land runs, or?
No. Well, the old great-grandpa did, but the grandpa then, he left my husband's father. He come out here, his mother, died, his wife died. He come out there and brought the girls, one of them with him. And he left her, and he come back, and he got the other two girls, little girls. Mm-hmm. And then they come, and then after that we come to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Where did you live?
Reba was about 2 years old, and I had another little baby boy, Lester, and I had them 2 children when we came here.
And then did you live on the farm?
Yeah, they lived out there on the farm.
And how long did you stay here then?
Oh, we stayed here till Reba was 6, 7 years old when we went back to Illinois.
Did you do basket making then?
Huh?
Did you make baskets then when you lived out on the farm?
Sure. Anybody wanted them, I did.
Do people usually ask you to make them?
Oh, yeah.
And then you make them for them? Do you have any special name for this pattern? You know what this is called?
No, I just make like I do the rest. You start them and work them down.
Mm-hmm. And these are work baskets, right?
Yeah. See these, when you put these willows in here, and work them up, you can make them baskets with a handle on them, you see. You can build them on it like this,
Mm-hmm.
Put a handle on them, or you can make them like this.
These are real pretty.
Oh, I've had that, I don't know how long. It's old.
Now, Reba told me that sometimes you mend them.
Oh, I can.
when they come.
Yeah, I could take them quilts out.
How do you do that?
Well,
Just
they're put in down here, see. All you got to do is take that out and take them out and put another band.
sounds easy when you talk about it, but I don't think I could do it.
It takes you quite a while to do it. It's really not easy.
How do you make the handle?
Yes, is this just a,
That ain't a very good handle. I didn't have no good wheelers for it.
you just twist a
This, you put them in down here.
group?
Put them in there and put them around that way, and then put these around, come over this way. Oh, they're there to stay.
How long would a basket like this last?
Last
you used it
lifetime,
all the
it didn't break it or up or anything.
But if you used it all the time, would it last for quite a few years?
Oh, yeah.
That'd make a good egg basket. Carry your eggs in.
Well, I made one, and Alberta, she hooked onto it and took it home. And,
Now that's one of your other daughters, right?
yeah, that's Alberta. He lives out there with Christmas.
How many children do you have?
I've got 6 now. I had 9.
Do they all of them live in Oklahoma except for your daughter in Montana?
Yeah. She'll be living here probably after a while.
How many grandchildren do you have?
Oh, I don't know. I have to count it. Not too many, though. Not too many.
Not too many.
No.
Well, goodness, you should have.
But then,
Do you have great-grandchildren?
yeah, I got a few great grandchildren.
Do they live around here?
No.
She's got great-great-grandchildren.
Does she?
What did you say?
She says you have great-great-grandchildren.
Yeah.
Got about 6, 7 of them.
Yeah, Reba's children is my grandchildren, and they're married and got children.
Can you work on your basket a little bit more? We'd like to see you working on it
Oh, these
while we're talking.
drying out here. Take a long time to make this basket. I dread to commence them because I have so much to do. Of course, I can make this and lay it away, and then a year from now I can go ahead and finish it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just let it dry out?
Yeah, and then when I want to work on it, just throw it in the water and soak it up.
Well, you have all these quilts here, too. Would you
No,
tell us about this quilt?
Well, that there is, old great-grandpa Porter had that quilt, just the top, not the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Had the top, and I guess that old great-grandmother must have pieced it. That's on the Porter side. And then Deck's father, when he died, he had that, you know. And I knew that they never had a quilt like that in their home. So it was Grandpa's. And then one of Deck's sisters, my husband's sisters, lived down here in this little house, and she died. And she had this quilt top. It was Grandpa's, you know, and she had it. And I knew, I'd seen it before. And so then when they're dividing up the stuff and giving it away, why, they just throw that to one side, you know. And it was dirty, you know, streaked. And I knew it, what it was, and I took it home with me. Brought it up here, and I washed it. And then I tried to see if it was rotten, you know. If it was, I wouldn't do anything with it, and I couldn't tear it. So I just got a lining and had Alberta quilted.
Mm-hmm. What's the name of this pattern now? Do you know what the name is?
We used to call it Dove at the Window. That's what we used to call them.
Oops. Now, what is this one?
Oh, that's just pretty quilts now. I mean, pretty.
Yes, I saw your quilts last week. Remember when I came? Do you know what this one is called?
I don't know the name of that. I just pieced it.
That's pretty. Are you still making quilts?
Hmm?
You still making quilts?
Yes, sure. I got one in there started now in the bedroom.
And what about this one?
Well, I'd call that a basket quilt. I don't know what else you'd call it.
Basket. Yes, that is basket.
It's got all my friends' names in there. That's an old quilt I've had a long time.
Did your friends make that for you?
Huh?
Did you make this at a club, or did your friends?
No, I made the blocks at home when the women at the club taking the block and worked their name in.
Each one of you made one, or did you make it all?
I made all of
You
it.
made all of it.
I pieced all the blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's quilted by hand. I quilted it.
You quilted this one yourself?
I quilted all that quilted by hand. That's another one I quilted. That's Lone Star. That's an old quilt too.
Very pretty. I like the color of that.
Oh, that is the old timer.
Do you have any idea how long you've had this?
No, I don't know. I made when I lived on the farm, and that's been a long time ago.
Seen a lot of use then. Did you use these all the time?
No, I don't use them anymore. I never use them. One quilt's all I use on my bed anymore.
But you used to use them.
Oh yes, I used to use them a lot. When the kids was all home going to school.
Now this is one that you've made recently.
No, I made it a long time ago.
A long time ago?
Yeah, I ain't used them.
This is a kind of a special one. Didn't you tell me it's made out of ribbons?
Yeah.
All different colors of ribbons.
We had that ribbon, when my husband died, so much of it, and I just put in a quilt.
These are the ribbons from flowers and things from your husband's funeral?
And I've got the spread made to go over the pillows, too.
How pretty that is. How long have you been living here in this house?
I've been, I don't know, over 20 years. You know Reba, how long? She's gone. Hey, she can remember longer and better than I can. I've lived here over 20 years. I don't know how much over. We built this, my husband built this house. There wasn't nothing here when we bought the ground. He built the house and I set out all the trees.
All these nice fruit trees. You make jelly and jam and things out of your can your fruit and those things.
Got a cellar full of canned stuff.
What do you?
Reba and I together, she used my basement too.
Can you work on your basket more? I want to see if we can see your basket take shape a little bit.
Huh?
I'd like to see the basket start to take shape a little bit.
I won't get the basket started on it this evening.
Oh, it'll take that long just to do the bottom?
Oh, it takes a long time. Yes, you got to build it from out to here.
Now, do you decide about the size when you cut these?
Yeah, I just guess at it. but they're about the same as that.
Mm-hmm. And how many of the spokes do you have to put in the bottom?
Well, I've got 4 in here. 2 there. I've got 5 in here, so that's on the side.
Mm-hmm.
1 in the middle, that's for the handle.
And then do you just keep adding those? Do you put more of these in when you come up the side?
No. No. You put the willows in. You get to sharpen your willows like this. You sharpen them and you stick them right in here, you know,
Oh.
all around. And then you bend them up and tie them up so you can work it.
I've never seen anyone make a basket before. So.
You never.
No, I haven't.
Well, you won't know much more, send me a mess. Because I don't like to do it. I wouldn't make this one, but Wilson wanted it. Everything I make for the girls, he wants one too.
Well, if you don't like to make baskets, why have you been making them all these years?
No, I don't know. Just for the kids.
Just for
Pacify
the
them.
kids. Pacify them. Well, you should have taught them how to make baskets.
Well, they didn't want to learn. Mommy knows how.
Oh. Have you ever taught anybody how to make a basket?
I don't know if I did or not.
You don't know.
I don't know.
None of your children learned how to make baskets from you. None of your grandchildren?
Milton now, the one that boy of mine died here about 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was more interested in it than any of them. He got them, the heavy willows in here, he got them, brought them to me. He peeled them and all and brought them to me. And he's tickled to death, you know, because I can make baskets. And I think he'd like to learn. But he never told me whether he wanted to or not. But it's been so long since he's been over here.
Now, how many willows do you have to cut when you plan to make a basket? Yeah, about how many willows does it take?
Well, it takes about a willow for every stick,
Will you use all of what's in that tub to make this basket?
mostly. I've got to put 2 willows every place around here to build up by, you know.
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Well, when you put the willows in here, you know, and bend them up, you put 2 at each place.
Oh.
And then you divide them up as you work, you know. You can see there. See? Here, see where I open them up here and put these sort of up here.
Oh, uh-huh.
It's simple as falling off a log.
Well, if it's so simple, why didn't anybody ever learn besides you?
Well, they didn't want to. They didn't want to do that. I could do it.
Uh-huh.
You ever see anybody like that?
Yes. When I was small, my father used to tell us that if we ever learned how to do something, then it was our job. So if we didn't want to have to do it,
You wasn't
we
trying,
didn't learn.
You wasn't trying to learn how to do things. First time Buddy and Ellen's been over for a long time.
And where do they live?
They live over the Crescent. They work over there somewhere. Both of them.
And when you came to Oklahoma with your children, when you moved out here, how did you come?
We come on the train.
On the train. Did you come here to Kingfisher? Did the train come here?
Yeah, come Kingfisher.
Did it? What was Kingfisher like then? Just a very small
yeah.
town?
The streets wasn't paved and all a lot of things wasn't done. So why don't you throw them quilts off and sit down in that chair?
Okay.
Go get Reba's chair. You see one down there?
I'm right here listening.
She thinks I got them for her.
Oh, really?
Well, we live right here. We get along fine.
I hear you like to go fishing.
I do, but I don't ever get to go.
You don't.
No. She won't go. Reba won't go fishing.
Well, who takes you fishing? When you do
Nobody.
get to- nobody.
This year. This year, nobody. I've been planning on going, but I don't know. There's a colored woman down here. She said I can go with them. I thought it was a nigger's job anyhow. Why? I had no say something I don't want to. She's a nice woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's good to me.
Now, what do you do with all these loose pieces? Were you gonna cut? Will you cut those off?
Yeah, you cut them off like that.
Just
Well, I'm gonna do that. Go down there.
now, which part is the inside? Is this going to be the inside?
No,
This is the inside.
inside.
Now this-
That's a different bottom than that.
That's a different bottom, isn't it?
Round. I can make them round baskets and put little animals on them. Build them up. I can work them down like that.
Is that's a sturdier bottom?
Yeah.
It won't help
Oh,
hold
yeah.
more.
It'll be a basket like that.
Now this basket is more than one color. Why is that?
Oh, that's laid in the water too long.
Just when they get dark.
Yeah, that makes the willows dark.
So if you don't finish this basket, will you just pour the water out and let the willows get dry?
Yeah, yes, or let them soak till morning and take them and finish up.
How long can they stay in the water before they get dark?
They get dark overnight and early. I don't like dark willows either. See, there's some.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be whiter. They'll be like that when they get dry.
Now, these are different color also.
Well, these
Is
is
this just
these
because
old
they're
baskets.
old?
They was white when they was new. And they're old.
They just will stay this color. And this one will get to that honey color too
Yeah, when it gets old.
when it gets old.
That is, if it gets wet, you know, or anything, it'll change its color.
Now you make these dolls too. How can you tell me how you do this while you're letting that soak?
Wow, that's easy now. Just put some rock in them bottles to hold them up. And then make it a skirt and a dress and put on it.
When did you start making those?
Yesterday sometime.
But how long
Well, I
have you been
finished it up
making them?
yesterday evening. It don't take long to make a dress like that.
Where do you get the heads and the...
That's just the face put on the, I made the head, that's the face.
And just has little hands in here.
Yeah, and little hands. They're little hands on both. I had 6 here few weeks ago, and I sold all 6 of them. One woman and man bought 5, and then somebody else come along and bought the other one.
They sure are pretty. Did you just learn how to do that yourself, or did someone
Yeah, I just
show you? You just do things like that to keep busy, or?
Well, yes, you got to do something, or you go crazy.
Well, it looks to me like you have a lot to do around here.
You have to wrap them arms. That's a wire. Put around the neck and down here, and you wrap them with tape, you know, or something. Make them arms. And then these are glued on, these arms. And then I made the head. And I had the white piece come from down here, you know. And I glued it down. And then I glued the face on it. And then when I got through it, I put some hair on the head.
What do you use for hair?
Just some button. That hair on the cloth, you know.
Oh.
I think they cut off the cloth with a scissors. And then I had this as an old dress. I guess it was a formal of some kind. And it had a skirt over it, that and I thought I'll make pretty little dresses.
They did make pretty dresses.
I don't know how many I made. You can make off of it.
Well, you said you were working in your garden this morning. What have you been doing? Just hoeing?
I was hoeing the sweet potatoes.
Hoeing your sweet potatoes.
Boy, the grass is about to cover them up.
I noticed you have a big strawberry patch, and what all else do you have in your garden?
Oh, I've got everything. What grows in the garden. You need a chair to sit on. Come and sit down in that chair. You won't hurt the quilts any.
I just stand up.
Before we just sit in the sun.
You do all your garden work pretty much yourself?
Yeah,
Reba
Reba
helps
helps me
you a little bit?
not much. Yes, I work out there. She works sometimes. Helps me hoe a little.
Do you mow your grass? Or you have
She
someone
mows
come-
it. Reba mows the grass. In here, she don't go out and mow parking or anything.
I notice you have all these flowers, and your pomegranate is blooming today. It just had that one on it.
And I've got some more on the back of it.
I
see.
noticed that. It sure is pretty.
It don't bloom like it ought to, though. I guess it's too crowded there.
What's this over here?
That's persimmon tree.
Oh, the little bush on the ground with the spike flowers on it.
I don't know what them are. I don't know what you call them. Somebody give me that long time ago to set out. They got them, the plants at the greenhouse at Enid. And she give me some of them set out. And they do that way every year. They come.
They sure are pretty. The roses are blooming up there. The little red ones.
Yeah, I got a big bunch around behind that. But it is blooming. I've had most of my roses bloom and shed, you know. They shed off.
And you said you planted all these trees yourself?
Sure did.
What all have you
There's
got?
a big walnut tree and a big pecan tree right there by that ditch. Well, one on one side and one on the other. Well, they just come up there. I left them there. And outside of that, I set out everything.
What all kinds of trees do you have?
There's one out there. Come up in my strawberry out there beside the road, you know. See? That's the prettiest one I got, I think. I think it's a box elder.
You have a pear tree, I
Yeah,
see.
I've got 3 of them along there full of pears.
What else do you have on your fruit trees?
Our persimmon trees,
Do you have cherries? Do you have a cherry tree?
Yeah, I got 2 cherry trees over there. garden. Plums, I've got, I don't know how many plum trees, little plums. I've got apricot trees, 2 apricot trees.
Have some peaches?
Yeah, got peaches.
Yeah, look at here on this stuff.
Oh, yeah, there's your little peach tree over
Not
there.
even on it.
Well, we need a parasol over there.
But
My skin's already dry and I just keep it going.
well, can you work on your basket just a little bit more and then we'll finish?
Huh?
Could you work your basket just a little bit more and then we'll be finished?
It ain't hardly worth working on.
Well, it is to us because we've never seen anybody do it.
Never told about all the fruit stuff that they can see.
What'd she say?
She said you had lots of canned fruit in your basement things.
Yes, she has too.
Now, can you use the very small part too?
No, I cut them off.
Just cut that off. Do you ever make baskets with lids?
With the leaves.
With a lid, uh-huh.
No, but I could. My mother used to. I know how she done it, but I don't do it.
Now, you can't use those real heavy ends either.
No,
Right.
no, they're too heavy to put in there. See, I've got to have this all open so I can put the willows down in there, and I've got to about put 2 big ones on them. Them willows have been soaked before.
How can you tell?
They're starting brown. See?
Oh, on the ends?
And they're all over. They're brown. all over.
Well, now, when did you pick these willows?
I don't
Do you
know.
remember? Have you had them for a long time?
Them brown ones I have. These I ain't. These ain't. I haven't had them too long. That's what we got this spring.
Mm-hmm.
And just when they get too big that way, you can't work them in there.
Well, I certainly am glad that I got to see you do that.
Huh?
I certainly am glad I got to see you do that. I've never seen anyone make a basket. Not very many people know how to do it anymore.
And if you'd come over and stay all day someday when I made a basket, then you could see how I made them. You'd have to come and stay all day though.
Now, you're working 2 of them at a time.
Yeah, I've got 3 of them on there. That willow's too big to go in there, as big as them sticks are. Where did you do go?
I think maybe they left.
I think they're not gone off.
If you want to stop, then you can. I think we've filmed about as long as we can. Does it make your hands sore to
No.
work with that? Is it sharp?
No. It don't hurt them at all.